Some of the best ways to get back at the social justice left and cancel culture is to really embrace their attacks on you. And Jordan Peterson, one of my favorite people on this planet, knows exactly how to do that. Ta-Nehisi Coates, the guy who writes the Captain America comics. And I don't know why they gave him that job, to be honest with you. He is one of the most racist, unbelievably horrible people on the planet who hates America. I don't know why they gave him the job of writing about America's greatest superhero. People who like Superman need not comment. I will never understand. But more on him in a second. What Ta-Nehisi Coates did was effectively write a Captain America comic where Red Skull is basically taking on a lot of the characteristics of Jordan Peterson. For those of you who don't know who Red Skull is or don't follow Captain America comics, that's perfectly okay. I'll fill you in right now. The Red Skull is Captain America's number one nemesis. He is supposed to be representing the Nazi ideology. He was, the head of Hydra, a lot of that kind of Nazi-ish feeling, a lot of that Nazi energy coming from Hydra. For those of you who ever watched the Captain America movies, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But Red Skull is supposed to be the exact opposite, the antithesis of Captain America. And Ta-Nehisi Coates decided in the comics to give the Red Skull a lot of, I would say a lot of things that compare with Jordan Peterson, a lot of characteristics. Here at Breitbart, Ta-Nehisi Coates Captain America comic parodies Jordan Peterson with Nazi villain. Now, it started like this. Just to give you a little idea of what we're looking at here, here's one of the panels that Ta-Nehisi Coates wrote in. The Red Skull, Chaos and Order, Carl Luger's Genius, The Feminist Trap, all these like YouTube videos that supposedly are watched by white supremacist men. But then you have this little window here that says 10 Rules for Life. Now, Jordan Peterson is popularly known for writing the book 12 Rules for Life, which it's a great book. You really should read it. It really helps get especially if you're a man, get your life in order. But it helps everybody. But it's one of those books that comes along every once in a while that I feel should be required reading. There's no real ideological positioning in it. It really is a book about how to help your life, how to make sense of things that happen to you. It's really great. It really puts the world in perspective. And apparently Ta-Nehisi Coates does not like that. Not many people on the left like Jordan Peterson because Jordan Peterson is a realist. He cuts through the crap. And he doesn't he shows you the world for what it really is, while much of the hard left wants to paint a fantasy version of reality. A fantasy version where, men and women, are interchangeable. Jordan Peterson does not believe in that. So that's one of the main reasons they hate him. But Ta-Nehisi Coates decided to do this. It was unfair. It wasn't cool. But he did it anyway because Ta-Nehisi Coates is just one of those guys who he hates really everything that's pro-America. He hates everything that is not of the left. We'll say it like that. He is a consummate social justice warrior. And of course, naturally, Marvel for some reason has gone deep into social justice warrior territory in their comics. Their sales have been dropping horrifically. And I guess they, for some reason, think that, if they go woke, they won't go broke, which is I'm sorry. It should be a best practices kind of thing every corporation adopts. Once you go broke, go woke, you go broke. There are few exceptions to this, Nike being one of them, I think. I think Nike was the only one so far that I can think of that actually gained money for going woke. But regardless, Jordan Peterson saw it. Do I really live in a universe where Ta-Nehisi Coates has written a Captain America comic featuring a parody of my ideas as part of the philosophy of the arch villain Red Skull? So Ta-Nehisi Coates did Jordan Peterson dirty. Let's say that. What kind of person is Ta-Nehisi Coates to give you an idea of how bad he is and why he should not be writing the Captain America comics? I'll give you one specific instance that really kind of sheds light on who he is. His monstrous passage about this is, by the way, this is from Politico, and it's writing about the kind of person, the unbearable kind of personality that Ta-Nehisi Coates has. You know, he's super racist. He has a very nasty view of the world, especially of America. And there was at one point in time that he claims that he witnessed 9/11 live. He watched it happen right in front of him. I'm just going to go ahead and read you this little passage from Politico. His monstrous passage about 9/11 from his book that he wrote is a good summation of where he's coming from. He writes of the police and firefighters who died running into the building in a forlorn effort to save all the people whose bodies were about to be obliterated into dust. They were not human to me. Black, white, or whatever, they were menaces of nature. They were the fire, the comet, the storm, which could, with no justification, shatter my body. That's what he thinks of our first responders, especially the people who ran in selflessly to save people during 9/11. You know, when everyone else was running away, those were the people who were running toward the danger in order to rescue as many people as possible. Ta-Nehisi Coates looks down on these people. He is, safe to say, one of the worst people in America, and for some odd reason, Marvel hired him to write about a figure that embodies America. And naturally, he turned his attention on a guy who probably is his antithesis. I would say Jordan Peterson is the cure to Ta-Nehisi Coates' nonsense. And of course, so he's going to lash out at him. So what does Jordan Peterson do? It's genius, really. Jordan Peterson embraces it. Because why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't Jordan Peterson embrace it and make fun of this? Because it is worth mocking. More on that in a second. So first off, Jordan Peterson decides to embrace the whole idea of being a Hydra agent, but only on Jordan Peterson's terms. Hail Lobster! This is just going to be me laughing at stuff now. Hail Lobster! So if you ever read 12 Rules for Life, one of the very first things that Jordan Peter talks about is the lobster, and how self-confidence actually even affects the lobster, the common lobster. And he's kind of made famous for that. So he decided to make fun of the Hydra logo with Hail Lobster. He continued to embrace it. Further on down the line, you'll see other stuff. Think of the merchandising. Red Skull. Clean up your damn room, which is another one of his rules for life. What else would an evil capitalist be thinking of? Can you imagine yourself? He started retweeting people who put Red Skull memes up with his quotes. Can you imagine yourself in 10 years if instead of avoiding the things you know you should do, you actually did them every single day? That's powerful. Just all sorts of... Adopt responsibility for your own well-being. Try to put your family together. Try to serve your community. Try to seek for eternal truth. That's the sort of thing that can ground you in your life, enough so that you can withstand the difficulty of life. It's in the best interest of the radical left types, best psychological and strategic interest, to refuse to admit to the possibility that reasonable people can object to their ideological stance, because if reasonable people objected, that would imply that their ideological stance is not reasonable. Just all these great quotes being put and attributed to Red Skull now, because, again, I want to make this very clear. Cancel culture is very real. This is my favorite. If you are, the thing about cancel culture is, for our society, it's almost a choice. Now, what do I mean by that? Because, so many people have been canceled and have been fired, their lives and ruined. Some people have committed suicide. So how can I say something like that? In order for cancel culture to work, society has to embrace cancel culture. We have to take it very seriously. Now, what do I mean by that? Taking it very seriously in the essence of a corporation believing that if they continue to not subjugate themselves to the social justice warrior class of our society or whatever, that they will somehow suffer great harm because of it, boycotts and all this stuff. The truth is they won't. If we actually disregarded the social justice warriors' concerns and all their anger and their accusations, our society would be much better off, because if there is one group out there that is the most racist and sexist and phobist and istist out there, it is the social justice warriors of America, or even just of the West. I would say of the West completely, because they're filthy in the UK too. So sometimes you just gotta sit back and laugh. Sometimes you gotta like really laugh in their face. There's one thing that C.S. Lewis said that I thought was really great, and it said that there's one thing that the devil can't stand. It's to be mocked. And these social justice warriors need to be mocked. So the things that they get up to and suggest, the accusations that they throw around are just ridiculous. And especially from a guy like Ta-Nehisi Coates, who believes that the people who ran toward danger during 9/11, he thinks that they're less than human. This guy needs to be laughed at and mocked. He needs to be laughed off the stage. Jordan Peterson took the correct angle here. He didn't get mad. He didn't get really defensive. He embraced it. He laughed about it. He laughed in their face. He mocked them. And that's exactly how we should be treating this social justice wing of the left, which has gotten really far out of control, if you ask me. They've become way too powerful, and they became way too powerful, in my opinion, because we kind of gave them that power. We took them too seriously. We allowed them to manipulate us into believing that what they were saying was true. Now, I believe in my heart of hearts that our society is slowly catching on to this, but we have way too many corporations out there that still cave to this nonsense. That has to stop. We have to make sure that businesses understand that caving to social justice nonsense has its own punishments. You'll notice, though, that those that don't cave to social justice nonsense actually succeed. You had Goya out there who effectively mocked the social justice warriors who were angry about the fact that they donated to Trump's campaign. Red Bull fired a lot of the social justice people that tried to blackmail the company into caving to social justice nonsense. So they did well. Chick-fil-A, when they first resisted the push, the cancel culture thing that came after them, did very well. So we need to be able to highlight and reward those companies that actually do resist this. Because sometimes it's not always going to be good to punish a company for caving to it. A lot of times punishing a company does not necessarily work, because, to be honest with you, boycotts very rarely hold, and they don't, especially if it's a major corporation, they do not really benefit, hurt too much from a boycott. However, rewarding them for doing well, that needs to be highlighted. So, if you don't want to buy a Marvel comic, I strongly recommend that. But the one good thing that we can do is applaud Jordan Peterson for doing exactly what he did. Go buy his books. I recommend that regardless of whether or not he did this, because they are just superb. In any case, well done, Jordan Peterson. I'll see you in the next video. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or learned anything, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so you're made aware when we upload new content. See you in the next video.